Tonight on Reporting Scotland, the Scottish international aid charity SCIAF confirms it's dealt with 2 cases of alleged sexual misconduct involving children. The brother of Scot Liam Colgan, who went missing on a stag weekend in Hamburg, returns to Germany to search for him.
The wedding's not even a thought to me or my fiancée. For there to be, it won't be going ahead if we don't have Liam.
Also on the programme, concerns over the government's ambitious plan to double free childcare. The spending watchdog questions the ability of councils to fund it.
I'll have all the latest ahead of Celtic's last 32 tie. Are the fans confident? Brendan Rodgers thinks the Russians are the favourites.
And the high jumper who failed to make the team for the Commonwealth Games but didn't give up. A Scottish international aid charity says it's dealt with 2 cases of alleged sexual misconduct involving children. SCIAF spoke out in the wake of the Oxfam scandal as the UK aid sector comes under increasing scrutiny. Katie Hunter reports.
SCIAF works in some of the world's poorest places, with some of the world's most vulnerable people. But it's now emerged a worker and volunteer connected to the charity have faced allegations of sexual misconduct against children.
In both cases, the person was suspended. In one case, it was reported to us by the police. In the other case, we reported it to the police. As soon as we were aware of it, we made sure that the police were fully informed of any information we had, and we've always fully cooperated with them.
SCIAF is based in the West End of Glasgow, but these allegations happened in Africa. The first case in 2012 involved a volunteer in Burundi who allegedly raped a 15-year-old girl. The criminal case against him is since believed to have been dropped. In the second incident, a junior member of staff in Ethiopia was accused of sexual misconduct against a boy under the age of 16. The criminal case against him is ongoing. SCIAF has gone public following the controversy surrounding Oxfam staff in Haiti. It's a decision welcomed by others in the sector.
As we go forward, while I do expect more revelations, I think it's good to see that organisations like SCIAF are coming out proactively after acting decisively, taking the right action and actually now being transparent and telling people about it, and that is a lesson that Oxfam should have learned.
We're dedicated to helping the poorest people on the planet.
The Scottish charity regulator said SCIAF had reacted effectively and thrived. And it would encourage other charities with relevant information to contact them. Katie Hunter, Reporting Scotland, Glasgow.
Police in Germany are investigating a possible sighting of the missing Scot Liam Colgan, who disappeared after a stag do in Hamburg. The 29-year-old hasn't been seen since the early hours of Saturday morning, but his brother Eamon has now returned to the German city to help with the search. Ian McInnes has more.
In the Reeperbahn area in the heart of Hamburg, the search continues today for missing Liam Colgan. His face now adorns posters throughout the area, being seen by all walking the streets here, while being shared furiously online. His brother Eamon, though, is encouraged by the response so far.
We are getting people coming forward with information. We don't know that information is going to lead to anything, but that makes me feel a bit more positive, that the fact that we're getting his face out there so much that people are now beginning to come forward.
And new information has come to light tonight about a possible sighting yesterday in the Buxenhade area of the city, where witnesses talk of a man appearing confused. Today, brother Eamon has been speaking to local media in an effort to publicise the case.
I felt, and the family agreed, someone needs to be here, because he's still here. Wherever he is, he's still here. So it doesn't feel right to be home without him. We should only be going home when we've got him to bring home with us.
And while the search continues in Germany, here at home in the Highlands, friends and family are doing what they can to contribute to the effort, sharing photos and information on social media. Eamon, though, has a simple message.
Please, please, please come home. everyone misses you. You're very much loved, and even if you're confused as to, I don't know what's happened to you, so just please get in touch, find a way.
And with the news of a possible sighting coming to light, renewed hope for the family as the search continues. Ian McInnes, reporting Scotland in Inverness.
The public spending watchdog has questioned whether plans to increase nursery provision will be met on time. Audit Scotland says there's a significant risk that councils won't be able to resource it. The Scottish Government wants almost to double the number of hours of free early learning and childcare that toddlers can get. Here's our education correspondent, Jamie McIver.
This Glasgow nursery is part of an ambitious pilot scheme. Children come here for around 6 hours a day, and it doesn't cost their parents a penny.
It's great because it's meant I can go back to work full time.
I've just recently taken no well, so I've been able to attend hospital appointments with it, having to worry about getting or taking Leila with me.
What's happening in this case, you think?
Schemes like this are about early learning as well as childcare.
It sort of does pre-writing, pre-reading, that sort of thing. A lot of outdoor play, sort of sensory play, painting, singing songs.
Brings them on their speech now, like socialising, brought them on brilliant.
The Scottish Government wants the level of provision at this nursery to become the norm. From 2020, all 3- and 4-year-olds, plus some 2-year-olds, will be entitled to 1,140 hours a year of free nursery education. That's almost double the current amount. But can that be done? Nationally, the public spending watchdog has concerns about whether the targets will prove achievable.
There's big workforce challenges. There are also some big challenges to do with premises and buildings, so that's either building new premises for service provision or indeed extending or refurbishing existing premises. And the third is that there's still a lot of detailed planning to be done around the finances. Councils and government at the moment have quite different views as to how much this is all going to cost.
The government insists the policy is on track.
The councils have put forward their funding and delivery plans, and we're working with them to refine them and to ensure that they will deliver what we're hoping to deliver. I am absolutely sure we have good relationships, and the audit referred to that. We have good relationships with our partners and local authorities. We all have the same common aim. We will work together.
Extending nursery provision is part of the government's wider scheme to help children from disadvantaged areas do better in education. Critics will be watching closely to make sure the 2020 target is actually met. Jamie McIver, reporting Scotland.
An SNP councillor from Edinburgh has been suspended following an allegation that he was involved in a fight. Councillor Lewis Ritchie, who represents the Leith Walk ward, had been on leave of absence due to health reasons. Now the SNP has confirmed that he's been suspended and will appear before a disciplinary hearing. It's understood that Councillor Ritchie is alleged to have punched someone at the party's conference in October. He's not been available for comment. A campaign has been launched to reinforce the message that sex without consent is rape. Police Scotland will use social media and poster advertising in pubs and clubs to target younger men. Andrew Anderson reports.
This woman says her partner raped her while she was asleep. Her words are spoken by a BBC producer.
Being your partner, you don't know if it's wrong or not. If you've woken up during it, you don't know if it was a dream or if it wasn't a dream. You just don't know what to think because this is your partner and they're meant to love you. Sex is meant to be consented each and every time, even if you're in a relationship.
The ordeal that woman says she went through is shared by others across Scotland. The police tell us that at least a fifth of the rapes reported to them have been carried out when the victim was asleep or unable to give consent because of drink or drugs. This is not the first time the police have tried to bring home the message that sex without consent is rape. They say they're aware that sexual crime is still underreported. The latest campaign will use social media and posters in bars and clubs. This time the message is targeted at men under the age of 35.
Men within that age group are the most likely to be perpetrators, unfortunately, of this type of crime. So our message is focused to them so that they understand the issues around about consent.
Agencies which support rape victims welcome the campaign but want more to be done.
I think we need to be speaking to young people about respect, healthy relationships and consent. If we're serious about reducing rape, this is what we need to do.
And for victims, this advice.
Don't be afraid to speak out about it. If you think it's wrong and you feel that it's wrong, it probably is wrong.
Andrew Anderson, Reporting Scotland.
You're watching BBC Reporting Scotland. It's coming up to 20 to 7. A reminder of tonight's top story. A Scottish international aid charity has confirmed that it's dealt with 2 cases of alleged sexual misconduct involving children. And still to come, Celtic gear up for their Europa League match this evening against Zenit St Petersburg. Some of Scotland's biggest industrial sites are being given poor ratings for their failure to comply with environmental protection measures. Petro Ineos at Grangemouth and the decommissioned nuclear power station at Dounreay have both received the rating. SEPA say they'll use new enforcement tools to make sure firms comply. Our environment correspondent Kevin Keane reports.
It was one of the worst offending sectors, but over 7 years the waste processing industry has gone from 72% compliance to more than 90%.
OK, so what we have here, we have our bale storage area.
These places have to manage environmental risk, but this operator feels the reputational risk is important too.
We are a business. We want to win contracts with local authorities, with other businesses that are not in the waste industry. And if you've got a poor record, then you're not going to do that because they've got their own environmental and ethical policies that they have to meet because they've got people, shareholders or members of the public, which drive them forward as well.
All industrial sites like this come with a degree of environmental risk. The licence that they operate under sets out those risks and identifies ways that they can protect against them. This site in Aberdeen has to meet more than 40 conditions to hold its licence from SEPA. It's been rated as excellent, but others have not. This salmon farm at Appin was also given the highest ranking, but 51 farms were rated at risk, poor or very poor. Petro Ineos at Grangemouth was rated poor, but the company says it related to 1 incident in a single day. So too was the decommissioned nuclear power station at Dounreay. They've invested £1 million in the past year in improvements. But across all sectors, the compliance picture is improving.
91%, which is the figure, is good, but we want to be at 100%. So we're not going to rest until we get everyone up to compliance. So the message is, if you want to help, if you want us to come and give you advice and assistance, we'll be there quickly. If you don't want to do that, if you want to trash Scotland's environment, then we're there to use our powers to make you do it.
Ensuring total compliance with environmental measures won't be easy to achieve, but SEPA says it's determined to build on the most recent improvements. Kevin Keane, Reporting Scotland, Aberdeen.
A man has appeared in court accused of cutting off a 62-year-old woman's hand with a knife. 32-year-old Stephen Brisbane is charged with assaulting Sandra McGowan at her home in Dundee's South Road on Valentine's Day. He made no plea during the brief hearing at Dundee Sheriff Court and was remanded into custody for psychiatric assessment. Mrs McGowan remains in hospital. There are calls to remove a former North Lanarkshire councillor who's been convicted of sex offences from a mural in Glasgow. Former Labour councillor David Fagan appears on Alistair Gray's artwork at Hillhead subway station. Strathclyde Partnership for Transport say it wasn't something he'd been aware of and they'll discuss it with the artist. The Hearts manager, Craig Levein, says he feels embarrassed that one of his players felt unable to speak to him about the racial abuse he says he suffered at the hands of the club's supporters. He said he was planning to apologise to Isma Gonçalves after the striker claimed that racist abuse had played a big part in his decision to leave Tynecastle in January. Stephen Godden reports.
The Hearts squad preparing for this weekend's game, while all the talk focuses on a player that used to share their dressing room. Isma Gonçalves left Tynecastle for Uzbekistan in January. Yesterday brought some fresh perspective on the move. The striker claiming racist comments from a small number of Hearts fans played its part. Surprise and sadness were among the emotions felt by his former manager.
In all honesty, slightly embarrassed that that Isma didn't feel he could come and talk to me about it. And that's something I need to look at. that if we've got a player who's been struggling and has suffered racial abuse, then I need to make it easier for him to come and speak to me.
In an interview, Isma Gonçalves claimed that his family no longer felt comfortable coming to Tynecastle because of racist abuse being directed towards him by a minority of supporters. Condemnation from Hearts was swift, the club issuing a statement saying that they abhor racism and insisting that such behaviour will not be tolerated.
It should make anybody who's in any doubt at all that they think if they can do this and stay inside the stadium and come and watch Hearts, then it's not going to happen.
He wouldn't give details, but Craig Levine said other players in his squad told him they'd had similar issues. The Hearts boss planned to personally apologise to Isma Gonçalves, adding to the club apology, but expressed the anger and disappointment of thousands of fans. Stephen Godden, reporting Scotland, Edinburgh.
Hibernian's Leanne Dempster has ruled herself out of the running for the chief executive job at the Scottish Football Association. Dempster occupies the same role at Easter Road. She'd been linked with the SFA post after Stuart Regan's departure a fortnight ago. A crowd of well over 50,000 people will pack into Celtic Park tonight as European football returns to the city. Brendan Rodgers' team face Russian opposition in the first leg of their knockout stage match. Our senior football reporter Chris McLaughlin looks ahead for us.
This is Celtic's reward for their third-placed finish in the Champions League. A last 32 tie in the Europa League against Zenit St Petersburg. It's not really much easier in terms of opposition. Brendan Rodgers says the Russians are very much the favourites. So what do the fans think?
I know we're missing some quality players like Roberts and Armstrong. I don't know if he's back tonight, but it is a concern, but I'm confident in our team right now.
Well, we've always got an expectation to give amongst the Celtic fans, because at the end of the day, we support a team because we think they're the best and we want them to be the best. And at the moment we've got the best managers and some of the best young players in Britain.
Celtic have got quite a few injuries, is that a concern?
A wee bit, but I'm sure we can pull through and do the best we can tonight. Aye.
Right, so give me a prediction.
3-1 to Celtic.
Well, joining me to take in this evening's game is the former Celtic striker Scott McDonald, who joins me now. Scott, this is a tough ask, isn't it, tonight?
It really is, against, a top opposition that's top scorers in Europa League at the minute, and they've got some real potent attacking threats. So, and with a depleted Celtic squad, it makes it all the more difficult tonight.
Yeah, arguably 7 first-team regulars missing for Celtic. How big a blow could that be?
Oh, it's huge, especially at the back when you look at the likes of, Gordon and Boyata out, the real stalwarts, at the back for them. And I think if they do go with Jack Henry and Aya, it's certainly an area where Zenit will certainly target.
Brendan Rodgers says if Celtic do progress, it would be an upset. Do you buy that?
Yeah, I believe that. But I think it's a great tie and to be involved in. And when Celtic are usually underdogs, it usually makes for a special night at Celtic Park. I think a couple of times, when we've been here in recent years, with European competitions, when the expectation has been there to go and win games, it's not quite happened for Celtic. So hopefully tonight, when it's not expected of them, that they'll go and get a good result.
Scott, thank you very much indeed. Now, you know the drill by now. If you don't have a ticket for this evening's game here in the East End of Glasgow, it is live on BBC Radio Scotland. Kick-off 8:05.
Chris McLaughlin there. Athletics now, and the story of a Scottish high jumper who persevered despite being told in November that she'd failed to make the team for the Commonwealth Games. Since then, Nikki Manson's gone from strength to strength. She recently broke the Scottish record and is now ranked 3rd in the Commonwealth. So, what now for her and this year's Games? Rona McLeod reports.
Qualifying for the Commonwealth Games was never going to be easy, and Nikki Manson believed she had failed for the second time.
I had quite a poor year leading up to Glasgow and didn't get the qualifying for that, but I always told myself that I would fight for the next Games. The standard was 186. You had to jump that twice. But unfortunately, I had won 186 in that period and then 185.
That was devastating for her, there's no question about it. It could break a lot of people, and I think we went from would you stay in the sport at that point in time?
It was excruciatingly close.
I was quite ill at the end. I think chasing the standard, I think mentally I was pretty drained. And I'd already accepted my fate then, and I was very disappointed.
I think we decided after a few chats to just try and set the scene, work hard, see what we could do.
What she did was go on to record a jump of 1.87 metres. It was enough to capture selectors' attention. A case was made, and a week ago Manson was told she would be going to the Gold Coast. She responded to that news with a Scottish indoor record at the weekend of 1.90 metres.
I was ready to jump well, probably ready to prove a point.
Just stunning. You know, I think I've never seen her looking more relaxed. I think it has lifted a massive burden from her. I think this could be quite scary as to where she can go from here.
That's cool, that's good. Okay.
Finally, she's been named in Team Scotland.
If I'd gone in with an 86, maybe it'd be a different dynamic, but 90, yeah, I am ranked quite high now. I just want to jump as well. I'm not there just for the best, I want to do well.
With unwavering focus, Manson is making strides towards the next phase of her Gold Coast journey. Rhona McLeod, reporting Scotland.
A great story. Let's see what joys the weather has in store for us next, Chris.
Sally, thank you. Hello there, good evening. Well, a real contrasting conditions today. Some beautiful blue sky and sunshine there in Shetland earlier. For others, a real wintry picture. Heavy snow there in Glenmoriston. Pictures from our weather watchers. Thank you for those. You can see on the radar, rash of showers continuing in the northwest, wintry as they move inland and hit any moderately high hills. Some rain showers through the central belt and the south. But it's the northwest that continues to be an area of concern. A Met Office yellow be aware warning for snow and ice. So overnight tonight, continue to see those showers across parts of the northwest. Elsewhere, reasonably dry with clear conditions, so it will be cold. Icy at times, temperatures in towns and cities around about the freezing mark, but in the countryside well below zero. And tomorrow, a cold, frosty morning with some icy patches. Again, wintry showers in the northwest. Elsewhere, reasonably dry, a mixture of cloud, some bright or sunny spells. So by mid-afternoon in the south, reasonably dry, some sunshine coming through at times. Still a brisk southwesterly, highs of 7 or 8 Celsius. Towards parts of Argyll, in towards the Highlands, rain showers here inland, falling as snow. Further east, reasonably dry anywhere from the borders up towards Aberdeenshire. Some sunshine in towards Murray, Caithness, and some brightness in towards Orkney and Shetland as well. With it, though, a few rain showers and again, a brisk southwesterly, but not the strength of wind that we've seen here of late. Rest of the afternoon into the evening, an area of rain in the northwest, then starts to edge its way southwards, making for a wet night in places. Again, snow on the hills. Looking ahead to the weekend, well, both days really rather cloudy. Some showers or rain at times, but turning milder by Sunday. Here's Saturday in detail, and certainly to start the day, a rash of showers, again wintry in the northwest, but the afternoon looks promising, reasonably dry and some brightness. The best of the sunshine really north of the central lowlands. Temperatures there up to around 8 degrees. Sunday, well, it will be a cloudier affair. You can see it on the chart there, but it will be milder with afternoon temperatures up to 9, maybe 10 degrees. That's the forecast for now.
Thanks very much, Chris. And that is Reporting Scotland. Graham Stewart will be here with the headlines at 8 and the late bulletin just after the 10 o'clock news. Until then, have a good evening. Bye-bye.